There is a hierarchy of gods and men. Beliefs for new societies. The god Marduk kills the goddess Tiamat and makes all the other gods accept him as king. He then brings order to the universe and creates mankind to serve the gods. The Babylonians succeed the Sumerians and establish the city of Babylon. King Hammurabi then claims divine authority for his rule and introduces a code of laws. Both Marduk and Hammurabi assert their supremacy over others by establishing a hierarchy of gods and men. Key believers: Ancient Babylonians, when and where, c. 2270 BCE, Mesopotamia, present-day Iraq, before 5th millennium BC. The Ubaidians settle in the fertile valleys between the Tigris and the Euphrates, Mesopotamia. 3300 BCE. The Sumerian people supplant the Ubaidians. After 1770 BCE, Babylonian king Hammurabi introduces laws for governing Babylon. 1750 BCE, the Babylonians become the dominant people of Mesopotamia, adapting Sumerian religion to reflect the power and authority of Babylon's chief god, Marduk. 691 BCE, Babylon falls to the Assyrians. The myths of Marduk are reassigned to the Assyrian god Assur. Mesopotamia, the area of modern Iraq between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, is often referred to in the West as the cradle of civilization. It was there that, in the Bronze Age, small communities first evolved into towns and cities. As these larger settlements grew, so did the need for new social structures, a common culture, and shared beliefs in order to unify the population and reinforce the political system. Religion not only explained natural phenomena but also provided a coherent mythology. In the 4th millennium BC, the Sumerian people inhabited the region. The population of Sumer was concentrated in about a dozen city-states. Each was ruled by a king, but political power was vested in the high priests of each city's religion. The Sumerians worshipped a pantheon of gods, including Enki, god of water and fertility, and Anu, god of heaven. When the Babylonians began to settle in Mesopotamia in the 3rd millennium BC, they absorbed the Sumerians and their culture, including some aspects of their mythology, into their own empire. The Babylonian leaders used the Sumerian mythology to reinforce the hierarchy they established, which helped to assert their power over their own people and the supplanted Sumerians. Babylonian religion. Central to the Babylonian religion was the epic creation story of the Enuma Elish, recorded on 7 clay tablets. The sequence of events it relates had largely been adapted from earlier Sumerian mythology, but in this retelling featured Babylonian deities, in particular Marduk, son of the Sumerian god Enki and the rightful heir to Anu. The story tells of Marduk as the leader of a hierarchy of young deities, whose victory over the older gods, including the creator god, Tiamat, gave him the power to create and organize the universe, which he ruled from his chosen home of Babylon. The Enuma Elish provided an obvious analogy to the takeover of Sumer and founding of Babylon, but Marduk's ascendancy over the other gods and his ordering of the world also served as a metaphor for the sovereignty of Babylonian kings and their authority to make and enforce laws. A mark of kingship. To reinforce the idea of Babylonian dominance and to unify the empire, the Enuma Elish was recited and acted out in an annual New Year festival, known as the Akatu, which was held at the time of the spring equinox. This performance did more than mark the calendrical movement from one year to the next. It was a ritualized recreation and re-energizing of the cosmos, which enabled Marduk to settle the destinies of the stars and planets for the year ahead. Both in its mythology and its ritual, the Akatu was fundamentally about legitimizing kingship. It was a public demonstration that the Babylonian monarch held his authority directly from the god. By recreating Marduk's triumph over Tiamat, the centrality of Babylon was also reaffirmed. The Enuma Elish. The Akatu ritual recreated the creation story of the Enuma Elish. This begins before time, when only Apsu, the freshwater ocean, and Tiamat, the saltwater ocean, exist. Apsu and Tiamat give birth to the primal gods, including Ansha and Kishu, the horizons of the sky and the earth, who themselves beget Anu, the god of the sky, and Ea, the Sumerian Enki, the god of the earth and water. The shouts of the young gods disturb Apsu and Tiamat's peace, so Apsu attempts to destroy them, but is killed by Ea. At the sight of this struggle, the god Ea creates a temple for himself, which he names Apsu, after his father, where his son Marduk is born. To avenge her husband, Tiamat wages war on Marduk, and puts her son King U in command of her forces. Marduk agrees to fight Tiamat's army, if all the other gods accept him as king, with sovereignty over the universe. Marduk then kills Tiamat and King U, and brings order to the universe. From King U's blood he creates mankind. I hereby name it Babylon, home of the great gods. We shall make it the center of religion. Marduk, in the Enuma Elish,